Just because a deck is seeing very little play doesn't mean it's a bad choice for any given weekend. Welcome back, Vintage Gamers, to a Friday evening challenge. We are coming up on the next set of Eternal weekends. However, I'm still not ready to do any more Lurrus PO practice yet. I'm going to do something different today. And the something different today might surprise you, because this is not a deck I particularly like, just out of the style of the deck. This is Jewel Shops. The big reason I'm playing this deck today is because I kind of want to possibly demonstrate an idea that I keep trying to stress to the community, and that's for these linear decks that have a very strong game plan that is easily combated by sideboard cards. The decks I'm thinking about when I'm talking about decks like that are Jewel, Dredge, Mono White, these kind of cards. These decks are playable in Vintage for a reason. And the reason is because they have an extremely high power level. And that power level is going to wax and wane based on how much they are respected by deck builders in the format. What is the current metagame? What cards are people playing? And one of the reasons you're seeing Mono White and Dredge have such poor success in the past month or so is that they are some of the most played decks in the format. And when people know that they're going to face Dredge multiple times in a round, and people know that they're going to face Mono White twice, 3 times in a tournament, it's a lot easier to target those decks inside of your deck construction. And one deck that has fallen completely out of play, almost seeing very little play at all in the format right now, is Jewel Shops. And that's not because Jewel Shops is a bad deck. It's actually, I think, in a really nice position right now. Why do I think it's in a nice position right now? Well, the decks that are creeping up to the top to combat the Dredge decks and the Mono White decks are typically these Lurrus PO, Lurrus Breach combo control decks that don't play Null Rod. The biggest problem with this deck is a sufficient amount of permission and a Null Rod, typically. And so PO is not playing a Null Rod, Breach is not playing a Null Rod. And you're still very good against the decks that those decks are combating at level 0. So if you say level 0 are the decks people are playing, level 1 are the decks people are playing to beat level 0, this would be a level 2 deck where you're playing to beat the level 1 decks. But it's also still pretty good against the level 0 decks. The level 0 decks being Mono White and Dredge. This deck is quite good against Dredge because of the One Ring. And it can be good against Mono White. It's very obviously play draw dependent against Mono White. But if you're on the play, they have very few tools to stop you. So yeah, I want to stress that enough is that people should be playing decks that match the metagame. Now, obviously, Magic is a game, and you can play for lots of different reasons. Playing to have fun and playing a deck you enjoy is one of them. But there are a lot of people, especially Magic Online grinders, who are playing decks to win a tournament and are playing what they think are the best decks for the weekend. And I think those players are choosing the wrong decks more often than not. A nice little example is last night we were playing, not last night, whatever the last stream we did, we were playing a Simic Birthing Ritual Modern to Vintage Port, and I paired up against Countervine twice. And Countervine is a deck that is at the power level needed for Vintage, but is a deck that is typically hated out by things like Wasteland and Orcish Bowmasters and sideboard cards like Tabernacle at the Pendrell Vale. And I didn't put any Tabernacles in the Pendrell Vale at my blue-green sideboard, because there just aren't enough Countervine players to justify it. And so because there are not enough Countervine players, it actually makes Countervine a better deck. And we got absolutely crushed because we did not have the tools necessary to fight Countervine. So that's what we're doing tonight. Also, I'm a little bit, for whatever reason, a little bit low energy tonight. So we're playing a little front-loaded decisions deck. Just because we are making less decisions does not mean our decisions are easy. The decisions in this deck are front-loaded in that they will be heavily about mulligans, and they will be heavily about turn 1 and turn 2 sequencing. And for PO, that's not usually the case. You're going to be playing longer games, making more smaller choices that are less consequential. So just something to think about. In terms of this deck list, it's not particularly well-tuned, but I did make the changes that I wanted to see inside of Jewel. What are those changes? I would never play Jewel without 4 Monoliths. I think Monolith is one of the core cards to making this deck work and playing your turn 1 and turn 2 Jewels and Rings. I would never play this deck without 4 Sink into Stupor. Sink into Stupor is by far your best land because it's a blue land that pitches to Force and a blue land that makes blue mana. I wanted to play 4 Talon Gates. The original version of this list had 4 Talon Gates, but I could not find another cut that I was happy with because I did want the first Tezzeret. So I do have the 4th Talon Gates in the board. Some players play like 2 Talon Gates in the main and 2 Talon Gates in the board. I wanted all 4 in the main, but I just couldn't fit it. So the idea here was I want to play 4 Talon Gates. I want to play 4 Sink. I want to play 4 Monolith. I want to play 4 One Ring. I want to play 4 Coveted Jewel. I want to play 4 of all the best cards that are not restricted. And so that's the kind of idea I went with this deck building. I took a bunch of bunch of lists. I do not have any blue mana costing cards in my sideboard. I find that the pivots to a blue mana costing sideboard plan, like a Hull Breacher or the big turtle, the Kappa Cannoneer, don't make sense because you don't have a realistic and consistent way of making blue mana in this deck. This deck has consistency problems on making blue mana, and it has consistency problems on having a blue card for Force. That's just the nature of playing 19 blue cards. I think 19 is actually quite good compared to previous versions of Jewel that played something like 16. 19 is actually quite reasonable. It's like just below what I would want for my deck that is trying to cast multiple Forces in a game. But I do still think the number of blue mana producing lands and Moxen and stuff in this deck is still too low to justify wagering your sideboard plan on things like Hull Breacher and Kappa Cannoneer. So those are my particular issues with Jewel. And there are reasons why you would maybe ignore those kind of downsides. But for me, I wanted to see if I could play those today and when we play through our Jewel League. So hopefully this will be a nice outing where I get to learn a little bit more about the sequencing and intricacies of Jewel, because I think it is important to play against decks, play every deck so that you know how to play against that deck. And Jewel is a deck that I expect people to actually register in reasonably high numbers for both Eternal Weekend in Europe and especially Eternal Weekend in Japan. For whatever reason, this deck is a favorite from what I can tell in the paper vintage scene in Japan. I believe it's because it's like a very vintage deck in nature. It's using a lot of the broken cards, right? You're playing 8 pieces of power plus workshops. But this deck seems to be very popular in Japanese paper tournaments. So I would like to get a couple more reps in, and I might even have a different sideboard for Japan than I do for Europe if I register like Lurrus PO. So I think that's a good reason to play the deck tonight, and we're gonna see how we do in this Friday night vintage challenge. Did you know subscribing here on YouTube and following on Twitch are both free ways you can support my vintage content? Welcome to round 1 of a Friday night vintage challenge. Won't be able to stream tomorrow, so we're gonna stream tonight. Obviously my hand does not have starting mana, so let's mulligan. This hand does not have a play that does anything. Don't know what my opponent is normally on, if there's like any justification to keeping this because of Force. It's not like we have a Saga or something to make this payoff really even worth it. I'm just gonna do a quick check on my opponent though and see if they are like maybe a Jewel Gamer would be a hand I might keep this. Probably not though. Looks like my opponent has no results, so I guess I'm just going to mulligan this to 5 and see if we can find turn 1 ring or something. This is definitely better. Definitely better. Let's get rid of Time Vault and I guess Metamorph. Considering I'm probably opening on Ancestral. I just like... We'll talk about it when I record the intro, but people need to like evaluate what decks are good for certain metagames. Like there's all of these decks that are powerful enough to be played in Vintage, but are so linear that they can get hated out. And the decks people are choosing to register are not the ones that make sense for the metagame. And that's fine. Like some people don't want to play metagame decks. They want to just play their deck every time. But there seems to be, I would say the majority of people are trying to play the best deck for the weekend on Magic Online. I just don't think people are doing a very good job of it. This must be Tinker, right? What else could it possibly be with no Lurrus? There's a One Ring, so I can change up my strategy and deploy a One Ring on turn 1. I draw less cards, but I could draw into Force, or... I mean, it does use up my Grim Monolith, which I'd like to maybe use for my Jewel. I just don't know if we're even getting another turn here. My opponent kept a 7-card Tinker hand with Sapphire Soul Ring. I don't know. I'm so far behind. My chance of drawing Force. We know there are 2 cards on the bottom that are not Force, so 4 and 52. But if I use my Sync and my Ancestral, I'm opening myself up to Mental Misstep. They did probe us as well. They don't know about the One Ring. If I were to play Sync into Ancestral and next turn I played Workshop, I still don't have enough mana to Jewel unless I hit something crazy. I'd have to hit another Monolith is probably my most likely thing. Whereas if I hit like another Workshop, I could play a Jewel maybe. This is a thing that I think you would know kind of instinctually if you had more reps with the deck, but I don't. So I'm actually not sure what the sync is, or the... I don't actually know which one is better. I think I want to play the One Ring. I think I have to just hope that I'm getting another turn, and the One Ring, I think, is going to put me in a better position if I do get another turn, because of playing the Workshop, basically. Also because of Force of Will. Let's fucking go! Oh my god! Let's go! That was perfect. That went just as I wanted it to go. To be fair, I will have to use my blue source to counter their spell, but that's probably okay with the One Ring and being in play. I mean, your play might have worked out too. I don't know. I think it's fairly close, which is why I spent a lot of time thinking about it. You don't get too many decisions when you play a deck like this, so it's worth spending the time to make sure they have the highest likelihood of being correct. You get your decisions in a linear deck front-loaded, typically. Yeah, I mean, this deck can play Wasteland for what it's worth. Like, the blue-black Eric Tinker deck, Eric E-R-I-K, plays Wastelands. So, like, you could theoretically get Wastelanded, but this is Beseech. Well, I'll let you Beseech in case you want to Beseech again. I don't know if you can, but our bargain again, I should say. I assume this is Tezzeret, makes sense. Do they have Force backup for their turn 2 kill? They know my hand, so they know I'm unlikely to have Force. Looks like they're a little upset about that, which is fair. Now we're going to draw with our ring and see if we would have drawn blue card Force with Ancestral. We're not out of the woods yet, but that was certainly the biggest hurdle of this game. Because they wouldn't have forced this One Ring if they had a Force backup of their own. They would have just held Force for their turn to push through their combo. So we didn't know if they had a Force or not. Forcing the One Ring, forcing your opponent's like slow combo card is not very good when you're trying to win on the the immediate following turn. It's not a very good draw. Need a blue source, which I already used one for Force, which is unfortunate. Or a Workshop plays Jewel, that would be pretty good as well. Yeah, this is definitely a problem. So we would have, with Ancestral, have drawn blue card Force, which is pretty interesting. But like we can very easily die on the next turn to something like a Tinker. Could play a new ring. But that would use our monolith, which doesn't really make a lot of sense because keeping our monolith means we have the mana to play Jewel next turn. And the percentage chance we draw force off of our new ring is basically nothing. Not basically nothing, but very, very low. And I don't think the protection is going to help us very much. So I would rather just pass and see if we die. Obviously, we mulligan to 5 in this game, which has not helped our cause. But we did resolve a ring and draw the 1 hour force that we needed, so pretty happy about those kind of things. My opponent's Tinker here is lethal. My opponent's Dark Ritual Beseech is lethal. They could have main deck Hold Breacher. Lots of things that can go wrong here. The good news is I could lead on a Jewel and then respond with a ring if they play a Hold Breacher, which I think is what I want to do. Is that what I want to do? Is that really going to help me if they play a Hold Breacher? Probably just die. Though Beseech is a lot less likely to play a Hold Breacher than like the blue-black Tinker deck. So in that case, do I gain more from one ringing first to know what my cards are? Probably. Probably just want to activate this then. Talon Gates does not cast PO, but it does cast Ancestral. These series of draws have been quite interesting. Not that if this was an island, the PO would be very good anyways. All right, well, I'm going to cast Jewel. Draw 3. Another PO, another Workshop, and a Talon Gates. So this can cast PO from here, but again, not a very good PO. Don't have any Moxen, can't replay my Monoliths. Not really getting threatened by a creature attacking us. I could just go Workshop and then play another Jewel. That would limit us to Metamorphs and Moxen draws, but it's a good use of our mana, and we still have Ancestral. Chat seems split between Ancestral and Jewel. I'm pretty sold on Jewel being the better play from here. There's a Mana Crypt and a Metamorph. That's very, very good. So I can go Mana Crypt. I can go Metamorph. Hang Life. Copy this. Draw. There's a Time Walk. I assume from here we can't really lose. Ancestral. Soul Ring. Tezzeret. Untap. PO. You could get Brain Freeze or something, but I don't know if I'm worried about that. I think I'm just going to play my Planeswalker and Time Walk. Figure it out on the next turn. I just don't feel like figuring it out, so I'm just going to go to my next turn and figure it out then. Where I have a Tolarian Academy and 3 POs or something. Yeah, that's true. I guess we can just copy the Time Vault with the Metamorph. That's fine too. I'm yeah, like I probably have already noticed, chat, but I'm very low energy right now. I'm not exactly sure why, but I think I'm coming down from caffeine might be it. But I'm gonna do my best, obviously. So we think our opponent is on Beseech Storm. I would want to play some negations. And I think I would take out a Talon Gates here. And then I like the idea of Cage, but I don't like the idea of Crypt very much. I think I can take out... Maybe I'll just take out Forge. Like, it's not a huge deal, but it's kind of nice to not have the Nambo. Not sure if it matters very much, though. I'm just kind of looking for cards to trim. Like, I don't want to trim any of my blue cards because I want to have the highest chance of being able to force. And then I think I like Tezzeret because it can find me things. And I've already cut a land, which leans me towards, like... The Grim Monolith is, like, where I would probably cut. I don't really like the idea of cutting a monolith, but all these other people get away with 3 monoliths anyways, so... Yo, have a good evening, Z-Balls. I, I think I just had too much caffeine today. This is a nice hand. I mean, it doesn't do anything right away, but, like, against what we're playing against, I think this hand is good. Just need to draw mana, and our deck is full of mana, so... But yeah, it's, streaming can be kind of interesting, especially when you're streaming on a schedule, because sometimes you just don't have as much control over how you are in on any given day. Like, obviously, there's some amount of self-determination there, but I don't know. Maybe. I'm just trying to think of things. Maybe it's just because Nyx went home, you know? Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? Yeah, that's part of it. That's part of it, Hat. We'll talk about it a little bit because I haven't actually filmed the intro yet. So we'll talk about it in the intro when we film it after this round. I'm gonna keep this hand, not because it's a good jewel hand, but because I think it's a pretty decent hand on the draw against my opponent's deck, which is about as all in a combo deck as us, maybe a slightly less. If they want to hit a Mox off of this, I think that's acceptable. I had a good, yeah, I had a very good week. 4-year anniversary. We went out to the same bar we had our first date at. Had some beer and mixed drinks and trivia night. We started Hades 2, which has been really good so far. Watched some anime. It was good. It's been a nice week. Work's been pretty reasonable, so... Looks like they took the sync. That'll help keep us off of force and takes away our blue source, which I think is an acceptable take from them. I guess we're like a little concerned, right, if we don't draw land. My opponent has 1 card left in hand, so I'm no longer concerned. We just wait it out. Oh, congratulations. All right, so my opponent has an all mana hand and played a mana crypt for us. So we just, that's a fucking draw. That's a classic Jewel Shops draw if I've ever seen one. I'm going to play this Time Walk, I think. I think I'm okay with that. I don't know. Very Jewel of me to draw my Tolarian Academy. 3 ball. That is not a very good card here. They can't cast the thing off of Beseech, even if they have Beseech. I think we just let it go, and if we have to crack our bauble, we'll crack our bauble. Like, I guess, what spell would we crack bauble for? Maybe stock up? Shieldred, sure. Not Tinker, though, right? Surveil land? It's like half a cantrip. Sink into the yard. Pass. I don't think I'm cracking. Negation, that's hard castable from here. Pretty nice. Oh, I loathe this deck, Phoenix. I absolutely loathe playing this deck. I strongly dislike on a personal level the type of agency it provides in a game. No, this hand is not really why. This hand is actually kind of similar to how I'd play this out from like a Lurrus PO perspective. I just would rather play a different style of game than the style of game that Jewel provides. I also don't like the consistency of the deck. The power is obviously just the power is obviously there. But the consistency in which this deck operates is very, very low. For my standards, at least. It's extremely different because this is, I would call it like an all-in combo deck. And PO is more of a control deck with a combo finish. Lurrus PO anyways. So I kind of run a risk here if I hard cast Negation on the Ancestral they top decked and played on my upkeep. So I think what I'm going to do is crack my bauble. Maybe I don't actually want to crack my bauble. What's the risk? What risk do I run? I risk the like I risk like getting PO countered or something. I mean, if I draw and I have to pitch this anyways, like I don't draw. What if they play like a Hull Breacher? I'm not gonna float mana off Academy because I can draw on my turn. I can draw Ancestral maybe. I don't know if this is right, to be fair. But I don't like. That's interesting. I wonder if I'm supposed to keep the sync or the negation. We're pretty far from hard casting again. I'm gonna pitch this negation. Maybe that's crazy. I don't know. Because I don't think I'm playing the sync this turn. Metamorph. Okay, well, this is blue, right? So I guess now I'm playing the sync this turn. I really hope my opponent doesn't draw like 3 good top decks in a row and use all of our forces. That would be pretty bad for us. Yeah, this is about like as close you get to something like Oops All Spells in Vintage, like as a playable deck. It's very heavy on the combo side, which is not typically where I like to lean these days. I would say that Beseech is not a great top decking deck, but it's got a lot of hits. Sync. I mean, playing Trinisphere does not seem particularly good. What I could do here is I could play Metamorph as a Crypt, a Soul Ring, or a Vault so that I can play Jewel next turn, which I think I want to do. And because I'm going to Jewel with it, I assume I just want to copy Mana Vault. Like, I'm gonna... Well, I guess it doesn't make any sense. Maybe I just copy Soul Ring. I was thinking about PO, but we don't have a PO. We have a Jewel. So maybe it's just Soul Ring then. I would still have, what, exactly enough mana? Because I would have 3 mana, and this would be 3 mana. What if I do Metamorph? What if I do Vault, then I can draw POs without... Yeah, I think I'm just going to do Vault. I think the extra 1 mana actually matters a lot. They just keep drawing lands and mana sources, which is pretty reasonable. They can actually hard cast Beseech now because they have triple black. So that opens up some of outs for them. But we're probably winning the game on this turn, considering we have Jewel with Force backup and Ancestral. The percentage chance I'm still able to Jewel after casting Ancestral is like extremely high. So I'm gonna cast it. Oh wait, I can actually do that no matter what, Justin, because you played Mana Vault and you're not actually 1 mana. So yeah, so I guess playing the Mana Vault wins. I was still thinking I had the Soul Ring mana. All right, my opponent's finally using the Force, which is the last card in their hand. Oh, Mind Break Trap. Sure. I am not going to counter this. I am just going to play my own Jewel and keep my Force for their top decks, and I can't lose. Is there anything better than Jewel? I don't know. I'm not going to think about it too much. All right, I guess we pass. Yeah, I don't think playing Eternosphere helps me very much. So I think I'm going to just not play it. Yeah, of course. We have a Sink, we have a Force, we have a Cage, which takes a bunch of top decks out. We've already used our Tinker, not that it matters very much. They also have a Mana Crypt that's going to kill them eventually as well, so... We do need to find some action at some point, but... Well, now I think I will play 3-ball because... I don't think it's really preventing us from doing anything here. Or hard casting this Force anyways. Again, my opponent is on a clock, technically, with a Mana Crypt in play. Yeah, well, this was a bit of an odd game. Like, our keep was very not Jewel-like. Our keep was very controlling. I mean, I can tinker for things. I just can't tinker for creatures. Jewel is a control deck. Well, there are, you know, who's the beatdown? Classic. The things Cage is stopping here are Tinker for Bolas Citadel, and the fact that you can't cast spells off the top with Bolas Citadel, but you can play lands off the top. Tinker for Robot, obviously that gets stopped because it's a creature. Beseech casting from exile. That gets stopped. Not sure if there are any more, because Mystic Forge, I boarded my Mystic Forge out. That would get stopped. Yeah, playing this Mana Crypt out on turn 1 was very suspect from our opponent. They would still be losing this game, but the Mana Crypt is not helping their situation. Beseech Hardcast Yogwill is stopped. That's a true one as well. Yogwill, that's a big one. It's a really big one. Yogwill, just in the fact that it's casting spells from the yard. I think that's why you really want Cage in this kind of matchup, because it's hitting a bunch of different things, which is really nice. I'm playing these out because they do increase my mana. I have not hit action, but I have 4 counter spells-ish, and my opponent has only 2 more crypt flips to lose. 1 more crypt flip to lose. GG's, good luck. Thanks for the great content. Got me to my first Eternal weekend. Love to hear it. GG's. I can make any deck a control deck, apparently. All right, here we go. Round 2. I have a Tinker hand, and I have a blue mana, so I'm going to try it. Obviously, my opponent's on Lurrus, so this hand has a little bit of downside there. Open to Wasteland. Not enough payoff spells, but can't really mulligan a hand like this. Looks like probably PO if there's a Meticulous Archive. I would say, in general, I think the way Lurrus PO decks are currently built, you are unfavored against Jewel. You can be favored against Jewel if you put enough work in the sideboard for it, but that's a good draw. Tinker is weak to the 2 main deck Flusterstorms that are in most decks, so I'm going to run the turn 1 Jewel out. I'm assuming my opponent is on PO, because I don't think the Esper version runs blue-white tap land. I think they run blue-black tap land, right? That might be not the case. I'm not actually sure. But again, I guess if my Mana Vault gets Spell Pierced, I'm kind of happy, so. Got hard cast Mental Misstep. Yeah, I do. I would say that I do hate the deck, yeah. I do it for you, the people. Well, I think that's kind of like the best part about playing decks like Lurrus PO is that you can make your deck good against anything, which I really enjoy that kind of deck building. See if my opponent has a force as well. I guess doing this means I am kind of hard to cast this Jewel unless I find like a Soul Land or a Workshop or something, but... And I assume you get Jewel here, right? I mean, I have Metamorph, so I guess I definitely get Jewel. If I didn't have Metamorph, would I get Jewel here? I just think I would still get Jewel here. All right. So let's go with Pearl. And another Metamorph, using our life, saving a blue. That's a really nice series of draws. Not enough for us to play another Jewel, right? What I could do... This is 3. Oh, this is exactly enough. Interesting. Okay, let's just play another one then. All right, play another Jewel. Oh, cool. The game is over. Seems good. Oh, I should have played Tezzeret first and untapped, but it's fine. Doesn't really matter. All right, that's infinite turns, so let's just do that. All right. Wow, my opponent said. Is this really a wow moment? Okay. I mean, if it's a wow moment, it's a wow moment. Kind of seems like a jewel moment to me. Yeah, I don't know. This feels like a pretty average thing. So the question here is going to be, how do we want to approach the Lurrus PO matchup? I'm not really convinced that this is a forcible matchup. This kind of feels like a matchup to me where I would kind of want to play like 3 grids if I had grids. I didn't mean to hide Tezzeret. I just time walked because I knew I was winning. It was definitely correct to play Tezzeret. There's going to be some inaccuracies tonight. It's not an on night for me. I am feel very odd tonight. Kind of went over that a little bit last round, but I just don't really know why. I don't really like the idea of negation against Lurrus PO. I can see why someone would say that, but I don't think I buy it. Like, you're not bringing in Masticore, you're not bringing in Wormcoil, you're not bringing in Like, I can feel like you can bring in Grid or Negation. Like, I feel like you can bring in either of those cards. I'm not bringing in Cage, Needle, Crypt, or another Talon Gates. I feel like I could take out a Talon Gates. Maybe I'll just play 2 grids, and I'll take out Talon Gates, and I'm not even, like, 100% sure I want to take out 4. I think I just might take out a Grim Monolith and a Talon and play 2 grid. We'll try this. I'm not sure. I don't play this deck very often because I don't enjoy it, so I'm definitely not an expert on the smaller minutia of sideboarding. Obviously, I can make reasonable judgments, and I think I can see a reasonable argument to go either way, but this is a pretty reasonable hand. It's not like an amazing hand or anything, but on the draw. So I talked about it a little bit in the intro, but I don't believe you're allowed to play Kappas or Hull Breachers in your jewel deck unless you up the blue sources significantly. Especially Kappa. I don't really think I want to mulligan this, but I could see mulliganing this. Like, we don't actually have a series of plays right away. So this is a demonic tutor version. I should be aware of possible brain freeze when I go for my combos. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go workshop Time Vault and see if they get counters, because this Sapphire is actually much more important. Hopefully they don't have like a consign on my Sapphire. I think consign on Sapphire is actually a really strong play. So obviously we don't have anything right off the bat. Maybe you could have talked me into playing a Sink as my land for turn. Probably not, because this opens up drawing Ancient Tombs or workshops to play Jewels. All right, well, Probe sees exactly my hand, which is unfortunate because our hand is not particularly good. I don't know. I could have mulliganed this hand. It's very possible I should have. I don't know. I think I might have just been supposed to mulligan my hand. Time Walk Saga. It's pretty good. Wasteland? Oh. I had it all wrong. Wow. Okay. I'm in a really bad spot then, because I misboarded horrendously. I did not think my opponent was Esper with a white tap land, but I must not be paying attention. That's the kind of thing I would pick up doing like deck list searching while preparing for an event. So that's a pretty heavy misjudgment on my part due to faulty knowledge of what people are playing in the Esper Frog deck. So there's like Bowmaster here. I see. Yeah. So I have all the wrong sideboard cards in my deck right now. I want to have Masticores in. I want to have maybe not Worm Coils because they're playing Plows. We'll have to see what we can see from their hand on the way through here. But I think our game plan for this kind of matchup is quite a bit different. I would take out all the... Did you take out Forces? Not sure. You still want to counter Null Rod, so it's a little hard to say. But I would like all my Talon Gates to be in the deck right now for sure. We're gonna have to rearrange heavily. Be interesting to see what we come up with in terms of a sideboard plan for this matchup. I will say that the Lurrus frog decks are a reason not to play Jewel right now. They are a heavy force counterspell deck that also plays Null Rod and Bowmaster and things. It can be really sketchy. I think I will force this Lurrus. I'm in a really bad spot regardless, but I think I'm just gonna be like way too far behind if I let that happen. If they force through, I think that's okay, because that means we got a force out of their hand, like a true force, not a negation. But yeah, I'm pretty not happy with what the current looks. We only have one Tezzeret in our deck, so one Tezzeret, one key. Well, now I have huge regrets in terms of pitching my force or casting my force, but all right, there was a negation and a mystical dispute. So if my opponent had the ability to play Lurrus Lotus, they would have had hard cast this. So that's not too bad for us in terms of things that could have happened. Does kind of make me it makes me a little bit happier about the choice I made, because if my opponent goes like hard cast dispute and then I force and they go alt cast negation and they then start looping Lotus with Lurrus, like we are a lot further behind, right? We have a lot of time still in the current board, and my opponent doesn't have a draw engine in play yet. I'm not too unhappy about how this went. Yeah, of course, but like I think it's pretty reasonable to say one of their remaining 3 or 4 cards or whatever is a blue card. Like it's most of the deck. We have all the wrong cards in right now, though, so it's gonna be tough for us regardless. Vexing Bauble. Well, Tezzeret's our best draw. Don't really have that many good draws, though. I don't know if this is an interesting one. Vexing Bauble is an interesting card to have in this matchup. On the play, I think it's justifiable, but I actually cut it a lot on the play and on the draw against Jewel. Could be incorrect, but a lot of your plays are going to be... Oh, if my opponent is going now, I'm going to PO now. Yeah, it's okay. I'll take the damage. I do not play more keys. This is my best chance to resolve this spell. I got Force Blue card out of my opponent's hand, pitching Frog. So, I mean, all of that worked basically exactly as we could the best possible case. So, you're gonna have to rip another one off the top. Probably has to be Workshop for Jewel into kill, or a Tezzeret, obviously. We have 6 turns to get there. Soul Ring is not bad. That's going to let me untap Monolith and let me go for it next turn, so certainly a good draw. Do they know about this with Probe? I think they do. I'm just going to get F6 value here. All right, so, I mean, there's still a high probability that the two cards my opponent draws, one of them is a counter spell. But we're giving ourselves a chance to win, which is pretty nice. This is dig through time. It's pretty unlucky to have my opponent resolve both delve spells in the same game, which means they'll probably have counter magic for this jewel. Do they care about a jewel? Yes. It's a chance I can win. All right, they found Stony Silence, and we're dead. I think we gave this game a pretty good shot, considering how badly our hand lined up against what my opponent was actually playing. That's technically a way I can win this game, so I guess we're going to play a little longer. That is the single best draw in my deck. All right, they have the answer. So now I'll probably concede. I guess I can draw Academy still. Maybe I'll give it another draw. It's gonna be pretty hard for to beat a player who casts both delve spells in the same turn in the same game. It'll be interesting to figure out how we want to board here, because this feels like a matchup where we could theoretically take out jewels and just play a bunch of Masticore, but we don't know if our opponent left in swords or not. We just don't have enough information. This will put me to 4, and then I'll die. All right. So what do we want to do? If we think our opponent didn't leave in any swords, we can just go full creatures, taking out forces and stuff. But they are on Esper. So if they did leave in swords, it's quite bad to do so. That being said, Jewel is a pretty heavy liability against this Orcish Bowmaster heavy counterspell deck. I'm kind of interested in seeing what this looks like exactly. I don't know if you bring in Needle for Wasteland here. It's an interesting way to approach it. I'm not sure that I want to do this, especially not on the play where I could theoretically go very hard, but they just have like, what, 7 or 8 forces in their deck, plus more counter magic and Stony Silences and stuff. I'll try this. I don't know if it's correct, though. This is definitely the matchup I don't want to see. And I'm kind of mad at myself that I didn't pick it out after game 1. Man, that is so little action. Let me try it. It's pretty reasonable against negation haste hands. Let's give it a shot. I'm not sure that I like it a lot, but do have a turn 2 Masticore. It's kind of the idea here. Like if opponent even plays turn 1, no rot, it's fine. We'll see. Wow. Jet Sapphire 7-card Frog Start. And a Wasteland. And a Lotus. So turn 1 Lurrus Lotus. Seems pretty good. Not ideal, I will say. Time to find out if they have a force. Don't even have a 3-drop to kill this Lurrus, which is pretty sad. They can even have the Mystical Dispute here, so. Force pitching Frog. Well, I'm happy there's no Frog, but I think my opponent's hand was a bit too strong for me to beat with my low action hand and a Bowmaster. Well, I certainly am glad I wasn't casting Jewel. Yeah, I think this is about exactly the hand you would draw up if you wanted to pick a best possible hand. I mean, you could have Ancestral, obviously. You could have Twister here. But seems good. I got nothing. I'm more upset about the mulliganing, game 2 in the sideboarding and mulliganing. It's much worse than like randomly losing to a broken opener. Like a broken opener is a broken opener. It's not a big deal. I will say that we did draw land, right? Or land, Mox, and land or something like that, which is not ideal here. We had a very land-heavy opener, which doesn't really make a lot of sense with my needle, so maybe I had to mulligan, but... Yeah, oh, what the fuck? There's a sewers and an archive. They got double surveil land. All right, yeah. I guess that's, yeah, okay. Seems good. Save 1 life. I guess I could have done this in the upkeep to make sure they couldn't replay Lotus right away, but it's fine. Whatever. I'm walking on borrowed time here. All right. That's maybe a couple mulligans, a couple bad choices. Not great. And obviously, opponent had the best keep, so. All right, here we go. Round 3 up against the Dredge Aficionado. Our matchup should be quite good here with 1 rings. I assume you're supposed to keep this. I can't imagine you're supposed to mulligan this with 2 jewels, right? They kept 7 because they're Black Dex 99, as per usual. See if he's got double interaction. Grief plus black card plus blue card plus force. I mean, to be fair, like if they just play a hollow one, it's pretty good against jewels as well. Though I do have at least a Metamorph. 3rd jewel. All right, I assume this one gets countered and I have to go again on the next turn. Oh, wow, no counter magic. Interesting. Key is what? +1 mana? We could get Mind Break trapped here. Could just be letting the Jewel resolve. I mean, I feel like we just start off by casting a bunch of Metamorphs. Oh, I mean, we can definitely talk about some romance anime. That's my particular genre that I enjoy the most. Hey, look, we win the game. We can talk about it because there shouldn't be too much time after this match is. There should be a lot of time after this match is over because this match is over real quick. Did not find a backup plan here. So I guess we're just going for it. Let's see if we get misstepped first. Does that help us? Is there anything we can do if we get misstepped? Not particularly. Yeah, we got misstepped. I don't think there was much we could have done about this, right? I could have played PO instead, but I'm not actually in a threat to lose these because there's no Icarids in my opponent's graveyard, so I don't think that matters. Could be wrong. Like, if there was an Icarid in opponent's yard, then maybe we were supposed to PO before going for a Time Vault key, but with no Icarid in the yard, I don't think it matters. This only targets opponent's spells. So I could bounce their mental misstep and have them recast mental misstep. All right, so this is Creeping Chill, putting me to 13, triggering Silver Smoke Ghouls, 3 Silver Smoke Ghouls, and there's Icarids in the yard. So, I mean, the opponent will have to... I mean, they didn't have any interaction last time, so they'd have to have a lot to win from here. Yeah, I actually bought the first... what is it called? Copy, the first chapter, not the first book, whatever it is. Oh, they are very dead now. Let's just keep playing Jewels. Looking like a PO now. What is in my Karn board? Can I win on the spot? I think I'll just save my mana or something. I don't know. All right. They saw that I was casting PO and they decided to concede, which is fair. All right. So this is a matchup that you absolutely want to be Jewel for. This is one of your best matchups from what I understand. I assume we are boarding in Wormcoil Engine, Needle, Crypt, Cage. And then I actually don't know what we're supposed to take out in this matchup. We might boarding Grid, because I don't think we're keeping Force, so we probably can board out a Talon Gates as well. First non-combo Dredge, cut Jewels. Interesting. Do you keep all your forces, or do you not bring in... I assume you bring in Grids, right? Do you keep Karn? Maybe you just keep in extra lands. I assume Karn doesn't do anything. So we're just trimming some number of Jewels. That makes sense to me. This is probably... I mean, I'm bringing in worms. I have them. This is probably... Oh, yeah, that's a good one, Dom. I enjoyed that one. I do really like giving anime recommendations, but we can do it after this round, and we can talk about it. Because it does... not everyone likes the same things about the same anime, which is kind of the fun part. So you got to figure out what people actually like about it. This looks fine to me. I'm grabbing down for this. All right, that is a terrible hand. Opponent also mulliganed. This one is good, I assume. Maybe it's not good, but it's good enough. I mean, we could theoretically mulligan more just because rings are so good. This is always a turn 2 Wormcoil, though. I assume we're putting away the PO, considering we don't have a blue mana. And this game turns on Tezzeret and Key. But this turns on... I mean, this turns on every blue source. So maybe you just keep the PO. Opponent is on 5 cards at the moment. Five-card keep from our opponent. I wonder if we don't play Mana Vault and Monolith. Okay. Because that would... No, I guess you would... Like, it's a little tough because if you go Mana Vault Monolith, then you're exposing your Wormcoil to Mindbreak Trap. And also, if you don't use them both and you don't play Wormcoil, then you expose them to Vigor. But opponent's down to 1 card here after griefing. They do have a Golgari Grave Troll and an Imp, so they have a lot of Dredgers. I don't know what they're going to take. They might just take Wormcoil and leave me with no payoff. I could see that. Yep, makes sense. So opponent has 1 card here, so I wouldn't want to play into Mindbreak Trap. Probably just going to deploy my mana this turn. Oh, I need to find... I mean, the good news here is that all my blue mana sources are turned on because I have this PO. My opponent dredged naturally, triggered a Narcomoeba and Imp, then activated Bazaar. I like that. Use this Narcomoeba trigger if they find any like prize amalgams. Didn't find any prize amalgams, but double chill plus Narcomoeba. 2 Icarids got found. 1 Silver Smoke Ghoul is coming in. I mean, I might not have very much time here. 3, 4, 6... True Chills. I might die on the next attack. Wormcoil, blue card, or blue mana. No blue mana. All right, well. Okay. Let's see if I die. That's not killing me right now. Oh, there are... there are 2 Icarids, which is 6. This is 10. They would have to hit the both remaining chills to kill me here. So I might have 1 more draw step. Very likely to have 1 more draw step. But it's going to have to be blue mana, right? And that turns off my Ancient Tomb until I play a One Ring. I do not have enough life to play Sync untapped, so that does narrow my options quite a lot. I don't really feel like I was wrong in the mulligan choices. I think it just didn't work out. Talon Gates does make blue mana. Whatever. Oh, all right. PO for 4. Not guaranteed. Ooh, that did not do it. That did not do it whatsoever. Classic. Oh, I have no outs. Okay. Do we want these jewels in the play? Probably not. Probably just want a mulligan maybe a little bit more aggressively. I still think this is like pretty good. This is turn 1 Mana Vault Monolith Bauble. Or turn 1 just... Pretty sure this is a keep. Powder, 2 forces. Mulligan to 6. I think I have to play Mana Vault. The problem with playing just land bauble is I have no guarantee to play another thing on the next turn. So I think I like Mana Vault into bauble as the second spell. 5 card keep from my opponent. Oh, you're right. That's true. No, I would definitely never play Ring on this turn 1. I'm looking on how to play bauble in the most effective way. I'm trying to figure out if it's Mana Vault first into bauble into Monolith, or if it's just bauble and pass into Ring on the next turn. The downside of bauble first is, I mean, Mental Misstep is kind of bad either way. I'm gonna try this one. The downside of this line is if they have a force right now, and then on my next turn they have a Mindbreak Trap. So I think I might have liked my line slightly more, but then I would also be playing Mindbreak Trap into force plus Mindbreak Trap anyways, so maybe it didn't matter either way. Both ways kind of play into force Mindbreak Trap. Hollow 1. So my opponent has only 1 card left now. If it's not Mindbreak Trap, we're probably in a great spot considering we have Ring and Metamorph. If they do have Mindbreak Trap, we probably lose the game. Can we wait? Is there any downside of waiting? We take 4 damage plus whatever on the turn. We lose the game on the spot if they do have last card trap. Yeah, they could have last card Vigor with a Shambling Shell. We've seen no Vigors and no traps. I'm not sure this is right. It worked out, but I'm not sure. Like, they don't play 4 traps anymore, right? I just hold this Metamorph for the next turn, Ring Protection. Noxious Revival is still in. Gataxium Probe is in. Interesting. I would agree with that. Being able to play my land and have it be Workshop is pretty much the best thing they could have drawn there. New Ring. Tinker. Can't Tinker here. I don't have enough mana. Not that I really want to play a Jewel into a Hollow 1 anyways. So I think it's just every turn we 1 ring. Do you keep the one with 2 counters? So So you draw more cards on the next turn? Or do we just draw one extra one now? I actually have no idea. Just do the one now, because we can hit like Tolarian or something. Is it worth it to play Defense Grid? Probably not. Oh, I guess it doesn't cost me any life. And neither... My opponent's not casting... Yeah, I think I just play it in case I draw Tolarian. They returned Icarit to return Prized Amalgam. Makes sense. Naturally drew? Interesting. They want to do activations on my upkeep to hit me with chills, I guess, is probably what's happening, right? Let's draw Cage Pio. So we could go Tinker if we wanted to. We could go Pio if we wanted to. But it might just be best to play a Metamorph on this turn on a One Ring. Could use our Monolith to filter into a blue mana, maybe. Don't know if we want to use our Monolith for that, though. I could just take the hit here, playing a One Ring, drawing a card, and then just play the Monolith. Oh, that I can use my Ancient Tomb? Okay, yeah, so let's just do 2 life for Metamorph as a One Ring. Keep this One Ring. Activate. Draw. Play a Monolith. I guess I could PO here. I don't have any Moxen. I also don't have a One Ring left to copy on the way back down, but I do have a Tinker for a One Ring I could copy on the way back down. I kind of want to Tinker off this Mana Vault, but I'm not exactly sure what I get off of it. Maybe a Stabilizing card. I can get the Wormcoil now and then play the Cage after, like a sicko. We just get Needle. We're playing Control again somehow. That might just be Lock. Yeah. Black deck certainly seems to think so. Kind of weird. It feels very odd. This is the second time we've kind of taken the controlling role in a matchup. Interesting. Very interesting. This is definitely the matchup we're looking for, though. So, all right. Welcome to round 4 up against fellow streamer now. Desolutionist, Sean. We need to make sure we don't get brain freezed while we combo off. So we gotta make sure we cast a ring at the start of our combo. Yep. I keep. It's a good one. Can't mana drain this ring. we talked a little bit about how I like this deck into a metagame of Breach and PO, so we'll see what happens. Ooh, he does have the turn 2 mana drain, though. Triple blue on turn 1. Oh, 6 blue mana on turn 1. Hit him with the Mind Break Trap, not the Mind Break Trap, the Mind's Desire. That's a lot of blue mana. Classic Sean. See, you have mana drain open in the beginning, the first turn. What do we want to do? What do we want to do? Do we cast Coveted Jewel into the into the mana drain when we have double force backup? Or do we just wait and let our ring do its thing, and then next turn we'll have an overwhelming advantage? I guess there's a theoretical world where we die. Like, he could have the Gifts Ungiven into some kind of kill, right? I wish I just had a blue land I can cast Time Walk. And I could do that. I could cast Metamorph as a Lotus and then Time Walk. I could cast Metamorph as a Lotus and then play Karn and then play Time Walk. Is that better than casting Jewel? Probably not. Just cast Jewel. Opponent has 4 cards in hand and we have double force. Which order are we pitching cards for force? I assume Metamorph first and then Time Walk? It's kind of an interesting question. Because a Time Walk is equal to a Jewel ETB because of the ring, and we get all of our mana back. So I assume a Time Walk is better. Ancestral Recall. He also has main deck Mind Break traps, right? Maybe we are forcing the issue a little too hard. He's got 2 Flusters, a Pyro, 4 Drains, an Untimely Malfunction, and 2 main deck Mind Break traps. 3 cards left in hand. I'm kind of in. There's the Fluster Storm. Oh, this is Gifts. Sure. I guess this Gifts can be Force Trap, Pyro, Fluster. Force Trap, Pyro, Fluster. I give him Pyro and Fluster. That's all it can really be, right? Force Trap, Pyro, Fluster. 2 cards in hand. I give him Pyro, Fluster. He flusters my force. I force back. Or I can force now, give him nothing, and hope he doesn't already have a Fluster or a Pyro in hand. It's really bad for me. It's kind of unfortunate my opponent had 6 mana on turn 1 in their deck, when their average play is going to be turn 1 land go. But this is definitely what I was worried about with just passing the turn. My opponent had 2 draw spells in their hand as well. This can get them 2 pieces of counter magic and an extra card in the yard. I'm just going to force this. If they've got a Fluster over the top or a Mind Ray Trap over the top, then so be it. I don't think I'm worried about, like, losing. Like, if they have the nuts, they have the nuts, right? And they're probably going to get another turn anyways here because I don't have anything after this unless I draw, like, a Mox. Okay, well, they're dead. Like, that was an extremely risky line. I'm not 100% sure that I'm always taking that line there, but... I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough to make a choice there because there are a lot of ways it goes wrong, but... No. The Karn wins the game on the spot, and I have a force afterwards, so I would just play the Karn and win. Like, my opponent's deck, like, it had Pyro, double Fluster, double Trap there. So, like, it was very, very risky. Very, very risky to do the play I made in this game. So, I don't know. But, like, it's kind of what my deck is supposed to do. Like, if I'm that forced, like, it's kind of tough because they have Ancestral and Gifts and Lotus and... you know, like if I do nothing, I'm probably going to lose just to Gifts into combo kill, breach kill. So I feel like you kind of have to make that happen. This is definitely a defense grid matchup. Is it anything else? Is the question. I don't actually like negation that much here. Don't like any of the creatures. I don't like Needle. I don't particularly like Cage, but Cage is like okay. I don't think Tormod's is very good. I might just leave Cage in my Karn board. I think Defense Grid is by far the best card we can bring in here. And Vexing Ball was already a good take off of Tezzeret, so I'm going to try this. I could be convinced to maybe bring in Negation, but it's just like the point in time where you're casting Negation, you've already kind of lost, so it doesn't really feel like the kind of card that is helping you in this matchup. I think this tie place is going to cancel my order. That's crazy. Well, this is pretty good, so... Pearl, Misty, Crack, Time Walk, I guess? What else are you cracking for here? Turn 1 drain. Turn 1 drain. Love it. He's a beast. Yeah, just have the blue every time, no problem. And Mana Crypt. Okay, so that's 5 mana by Lurrus and hold up and drain. Pretty good. And has the Pearl on color. Not bad. Not bad. I can't really afford not to cast any spells, so my opponent wants to drain my Grim Monolith. They can drain my Grim Monolith. So I do now have a question of whether or not I want to play my Grim Monolith and play my Karn directly into Mindbreak Trap. That is a huge concern here. What are my best draws that help me from this spot? Casting Karn is playing directly into my opponent's game plan in this game. Is the problem with casting Karn, as I've described. When I have all of these other options, I don't really like playing Karn here. I guess it does. Karn does turn off Lurrus, whereas if they play Lurrus next turn, the Karn is a lot worse. The fact that if they play Lurrus, I mean, the Karnas, I mean, they could still just have another fetch land and fetch Swamp and fetch Tundra. I think it's actually fine. Because I think the Karn just gets a lot worse if they're able to immediately cast Lurrus, so. All right, our Karn still has access to Grafdigger's Cage. I think I like getting rid of the artifacts in play first. Oh, just immediate chain on my Karn. Hmm. I don't actually think this gets that much better. Okay, so they don't have the ability to play Lurrus because they have so many volcanics in their deck. I could jam a lattice and see if it works. They didn't have any counters before, so what's the likelihood they'll have a counter now? But if I just time walk first, I can have some extra mana first, maybe. Let's see if I can. Well, the problem with time walk is like theoretical pyroblasts or flusterstorms. I think I like just making them have it based on how this game has gone. Drew a drain. It's pretty good. Or he had drain last turn and was relying on chain to work. It's possible. I feel like putting a drain on the stack for Karn is better, but didn't use the drain mana at all, so just counterspell. So if I had a Soul Guide Lantern here, I could theoretically exile my drain, but I don't think that's where we're going. So let's go. I could put a Worm Coil into play. I could put a Masticore into play. Put a Cage into play. Yeah, if I had a Soul Guide, I think I might go for it, but I don't think I'm going to go for Crypt. I'm just going to put a Worm Coil in play. Force. Wow. So I think he must have let the Karn resolve, which is because he had Chain of Vapor. Interesting. Very cool. PO. I'm going to destroy Mana Crypt and pass. And it's going to be bolted now. Scroll. Ancestral. He's got last card is Lurrus. Monolith. wonder if we should just get... I can get another Worm Coil, I think. Ooh, I am gonna get my Typhoon. Sick. Stock up off the top is a good rip. That might be enough to get him back. We'll see. Still have a Karn in play. I definitely want to get this Cage, though. I mean, it wasn't too slow. I would have won the game on the turn after I played Karn. I cast it already in this game. Unfortunately, I can't get the Grafdigger's Cage because I had decided to put a clock in play instead. So I'm a little worried. Key is actually pretty damn good here because Key means I can block the worm with the Worm Coil. If he fetches out a black or a white source here, he'll go to 1. Won't be able to force after. I feel like I played this game pretty fast and loose, and I think I would lose like a pretty large portion of the games that we played based on like what was put on the stack, but if he doesn't play Lurrus, then we can attack with this Monolith for lethal. Maybe I should have done that last turn. I don't think so. Could be wrong. No YouTube coverage? Everything I stream goes on YouTube. So maybe you just didn't get the notification that it was up. Oh, if I had attack with it last turn, I would have had unblockable this turn. Yeah, maybe. That's true. I was kind of thinking about being able to untap Worm Coil, but that was probably bad. You're right. I should probably have attacked with it last turn then. It had haste, right? Because I played it the turn before. Yeah. Bad play. My opponent probably has one more chain left in their deck, but all their fast mana's in their yard, so they'd have to have like chain and somehow still get a breach going, which would be hard to do, especially because we know that one of their last 2 cards is Lurrus. It would have to be like chain, Mox, breach or something like that. Yeah, I should probably have stood up at the turn earlier. That was not great. I'm just going to attack first. I think he's hoping I don't see this, which I didn't. I don't know how to feel about this game. Like, I did win both games, but I also took, like, extremely risky lines that played into a series of his cards that I think, like, some amount of time I'm losing. Like, obviously, it's not normal for the opponent to have 6 blue mana on turn 1, but because they have 6 blue mana on turn 1, and they have 2 instants, like, there's a whole heap of things that can go wrong from that spot. Pyro, Fluster, Mindbreak Trap are the big ones, which is why we went after the gifts and just had to risk it, like giving them 2 spells there. I mean, I can give him Pyro, Fluster, so I can minus that down 1 to 1 spell, but maybe there's like a different variation of the gifts pile that actually helps. It's probably not, but it's possible. And then in this game, like, I'd love to know which counters he had in hand on turn 1 when the Karn resolved, because I think, based on what I know of Sean and how he plays, I assume he let Karn resolve and because he had Chain, and then he let Force on Chain resolve, which is interesting. But he might have had Chain Mana Drain and drew Force for turn, or he might have had Chain Force and drew Mana Drain for turn. I'm not sure. We might be able to go back and look at his VOD. If he had Chain Drain, I like just draining on the Karn, and if it gets forced, then you can untap and chain still at any time if you want. And like he did get to mana drain this, he drained a Lattice, but didn't get to use any of the mana from it. So, and we kind of negated the broken mana draw of Mana Crypt and Pearl. So, I don't know. We'll have to go and see what we can find. And like I said, I don't think that the spells I put on this, like I obviously put really good spells on the stack. I just think some amount of the time I'm gonna get really punished for fighting over it by like Trap and Flusterstorm, right? All right, on to round 5. We're up against another one of the strongest players on the platform, Kevin, playing Lurrus Doomsday, very likely. I do not have enough mana here, so I'm gonna mulligan this hand. This matchup should be pretty reasonable for Jewel. More reasonable than normal Doomsday, because their deck is just a bit slower. Unfortunately, I cannot seem to have a hand that has enough mana in it. This hand would be very good with a mana source. I might keep it. Probably not. Probably just mulligan. I don't think you're supposed to keep this hand hoping to hit a mana source. It's not even that good if I hit a mana source. Like I have a protected Tezzeret, but like who cares? We haven't cast Tezzeret today really much. This hand's great though. Protected. Somehow we mulled a 5 with a protected ring. It's pretty good. Well, my opponent has opened with almost all of their Moxen again. Turn 1, buy Lurrus. Play Lurrus, replay Lotus. Pretty good. Is Ring great against Doomsday? Against Lurrus Doomsday, I think it is, yeah. I would not say the same about normal Doomsday. Brainstorm in response is fine. It's a good sign of weakness. These are better this time, which is good. I don't feel bad about this spot. Like, if my opponent was on normal Doomsday, I'd feel really bad, right? But I think being Lurrus Doomsday gives me a lot of hope. Force pitching Force. Force pitching Metamorph. I guess there's no reason not to do this now. All right, let's see what happens. It's the London Mulligan for you. Just mull to a 5-card protected ring. That's pretty bad for us. Take your time, can find Doomsday here and set up a kill. Especially with Black Lotus coming back next turn, probably. Or wait, it can still come back this turn? Then we're super dead. Stream's going pretty well. We've hit a bunch of the expected metagame that I decided to play the deck for. So it's kind of gone according to plan. That is not the worst outcome for us. If we can get a new ring down, we're going to be in a great spot. But we need mana, so... Beautiful. Beautiful. This just lets me time walk. Or play a new ring. I think we just want to time walk and draw an additional 3 first. I assume. I guess the Tameo, if my opponent plays Lotus, so I guess they already used Lotus. If they play Lotus and play Doomsday, the Tameo will let them win, right? So we kind of need to draw as many cards as possible and give ourselves the best chance of winning. I don't think I'm playing around Daze at this point. I think I want to try to save the life. So I think I'm going to just cast this Time Walk. And then see what we draw off our next ring turn here. I would like to try to win the game here. Those do not look like win the game cards. I'm pretty worried about my opponent casting Doomsday off of Lotus and then drawing with Tameo and killing me somehow. Like Ancestral into Lotus again. I could lead here on Mana Crypt and play Forge and see what that does for us. Kind of worried though. I guess I still have a ring no matter what, so I can't like die to damage from the frog, but I can still die to a Doomsday. And the Tameo. If it was just the frog, we would blank the draw, but the Tameo is going to draw regardless of the ring. I think I am going to just use the 2 life because I might need the blue. Wait, what would I need the blue for, though? Nothing. I don't think nothing. Jewel. I can't cast Jewel. I can cast a new 1 ring going to 8, and then on the next turn I can Jewel if I get another turn. Or I can pay a life and look for more mana, I guess is the only thing I can really optimistically look for is more mana. Which feels kind of bad. I think I just try to get 1 more turn. Can I keep my draw 4 on this ring? No. Do I want to draw 1? I can at most take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I won't. I can still use Tomb, so I do want to draw. key. One, 2, 1, 4, 5. I think I can do 1, but not activate. So I have to hope my opponent doesn't go Lotus Doomsday and kill me here. Because I think Doomsday in hand kills me here with the Tamiyo. That's a good sign. Interesting. Chose to use the Lotus for blue. Shuffled. All right, so what are they up to? Paying costs. Dig. Jeez. Flip Tamiyo, dig. Okay. You had to use the Lotus. Interesting. All right. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. I lost my flip. I lost my damage. I go to all the way to 4 to 3. Draw through this force. Karn Tezzeret. If I want to use my... Wow. What do I want to do? If I want to use my Ancient Tomb and my Force, I can't use my Forge. If I don't want to use my Ancient Tomb, I could use Forge and Force. The flip Tamiyo means I could theoretically play another Ring and Pass, but I have an active Mana Crypt. So I probably have to win the game this turn. I just don't know what the best way to win the game is or try to win the game is. This Karn is always 4 mana and doesn't really help me in any way. So I think I will just... Yes, I can definitely do that if I want to. I'm not 100% sure that I want to. I guess, to be fair, Key and Tezzeret is a little bit more useful than Key. But Key can make mana. But if I use Tezzeret and Key and don't PO, then I won't have a Vault. But I think I like it. I mean, yeah, searching is similar to untapping, but gives us some blue mana. But I also get to fresh my top card here. Vexing Bauble. I currently have 7 mana. So... God, playing a Vexing Bauble is like way too hard to do, right? I could use my key to untap my Monolith and just use my Monolith and Lotus to cast Jewel. kind of think that's the best play because it lets me still have everything else. But it uses a lot of mana, so I don't know. Maybe it's not good. I haven't found any like free mana off of this forge. I mean, maybe I should just be drawing more cards with the ring. I'm not really sure. This was a kind of a hard turn, and I'm not actually sure what the best play was. Feels bad, though. Workshop, Bauble, Jet. That's really good. I'm going to use Workshop to save the life. Or I can just filter out my top card now that I don't think I'm going to use Force. But then I'm losing my Ancient Tomb mana. Don't know. It's bad to play this Workshop if I think I can hit a Tolarian Academy, but it's pretty good otherwise. I think I'm supposed to go Workshop, Bauble, Blue, Metamorph, Jewel, Draw, Sapphire. Oh, fuck. I forgot. I really wanted that blue mana. I guess I don't need that blue mana. It actually might be better to cast it off the top so that I can keep going further here. Because I want to draw through this with Bauble. PO, that's perfect. Oh no! I did it in the wrong order. Oh, I threw the game, chat. If I had cleared the top card with Forge and drawn with Bauble, I'd have the PO and I would win on the spot. Now I'm actually in trouble because I don't have as many hits. Wow, I just did it in the wrong order. I knew that I wanted to do it in the other order too. Damn. Oh, I got bailed. Oh my god, now I'm still short of mana to play another Jewel. All right, I think I threw that game. Sorry, chat. I threw it. Yeah, I think we were supposed to win that game. I have huge regrets too. There's no way I can get out of this. Damn, that was a one game for sure. I wanted to leave the Vexing Bauble draw. I wanted to leave the Vexing Bauble draw so I could have draws like PO as outs. Well, no, I had the PO as an out. I just fucked up. All right, I'm gonna bring in negation. I'm gonna bring in this, take out this tomb. That's like the 5% of PO games / Jewel games that are hard because you just have so many things that are fucking you up. Well, I was gonna clear the mana vault and the mana crypt with the PO. Like it was a locked game. It was if I just swap the order, it's like an actual locked game. I win the game 100%. So just a little bit of a mistake. That's enough to throw it away. I'm just gonna do this and run it back. I just didn't give myself the right outs, you know? There were probably other things I could have changed along the way too. Like for a while, I was trying to keep up the ability to add Tomb, and then I was trying to keep up the ability to have like Force and Mystic Forge activation. Maybe I was like doing too many things, trying to keep too many things up. But tough. This hand stinks. Gonna throw this one back. I like this hand more. Definitely going with turn 1 workshop or turn 1 ring. Time walk gets a better with an active ring. Force is my best draw probably to try to not die on turn 1, though we should be less likely to die on turn 1 against this version of Doomsday. Orcish Bowmaster is probably overrated, but it's fine. It's fine. It's definitely not as good as you would think it would be, if that makes sense, but I will play this, pay 3 life, and time walk. I'll go to my next ring turn. Draw. Saga. Pearl. Do I want another new ring? I guess I kind of do. Maybe that was wrong. Well, now I can PO, so I think it worked out. Do I PO on his turn so that I can have negation back up? Probably not. Trap. It's fine. I wonder if I was supposed to just leave the other ring, though. Frog is fine. Frog is just such a bad card in this kind of matchup compared to just Street Wraiths and Doomsdays. Mystic Forge. Draw with ring. Jewel. I mean, I have so much stuff. What am I supposed to even do here? All of these things look winning to me. I think if I just play a new ring, the number of bad things that can happen is really low. So I'm just going to start by playing a new ring. Nice. I'm going to respond with Ancestral before I have Protection. And then I have Sapphire. Ancient Tomb doesn't tap for damage. Play a Monolith. Play a Forge. Play an Emerald. Play a Crypt. Play a Bauble. I don't really want this Bauble to be in play, so I think I'm going to draw through this Karn. Exile with Forge. Play a Tezzeret. Ah. So that wins next turn. I don't think there's any reason not to... Oh, he can kill it with Frog. I guess I just make him do that. I could draw more with the ring. Maybe that's just what I should do. Okay. I do need to kill off my Mana Crypt. But I can do that with Karn. I guess Tezzeret lets him draw with Frog. I didn't think about that. Maybe I wasn't supposed to do that then. Interesting. Kind of a weird thing to come up. Not a huge deal, I don't think, as long as I don't die on this turn. And I shouldn't die with 2 negations. I would hope. All right, so I assume this is just going to be attack Tezzeret, pitch 3 cards. I also need to maybe find something to help me here. Maybe I don't. I need to deal with my ring, and I need to deal with my mana crypt. The most I can take on this turn is down to 7, so it should be fine. Just don't want to like randomly lose to like counter or something. I guess technically I do need to kill him in time, so I might actually have to make a construct as well. Is this gonna be time walk? He only has 2 cards left in hand. Dig. I'm just gonna exile here. Okay, I think I'll make a construct then, so it saves me time. I'm gonna draw that PO. Find a key. Playtime. I should have used different mana to do that. He's just gonna concede. That's nice of him. Wouldn't take too long anyways. 2 hits. All right. So it should be 2-0, but I threw that game 1. Kind of a hard spot. Let's run it back. Yeah, it would have only taken me like a minute to get 2 extra turns and attack for 20, so definitely keeping this hand. Not the best hand by any means, but certainly a keep. Well, I mean, I'm just not trying to cast blue spells. Like, I'm not playing Hull Breachers in my sideboard and Kappa Cannoneers in my sideboard. I'm playing extra blue mana lands, so. All right, well, he knows my hand with Cataxian Probe here, so we'll see what happens. I'm probably leading Trinisphere. All right, drawing off Bauble. A Mox. Countered Steel Sabotage. It's a really good one there. tap land. I'll probably jam a Jewel this time before there are creatures. Oh, Thoughtseize. Okay, well, can only take one of them. He didn't know about Metamorph. He knew the other 4. Excuse me. They play 1 days. But we're covered, so. He's trying to choose whether he wants to play through Jewel or Ring. Interesting. I would think you would want to take Jewel because I'm going to win with it. So probably going to win with it. Maybe he's got Trap, and Trap is better against Jewel than Ring, but it seems a little bit sus. I can't think of why it would be a choice. What would be the reason why you wouldn't take Jewel here? Trap? Oh, took the Ring. Yeah, but he's tapped out. So it must be Trap. Or maybe he just has Force. Okay. Yeah, guess so. Maybe he was considering taking the Metamorph for Frog or something. It's kind of unclear. I don't really have a good Lurrus spot, and so if he just goes Lurrus with Bobble, it's probably winning. Oh, it just has Doomsday. That's really bad for me. I mean, their hand was on the play, Sabotage, Negation, Thoughtseize. Pretty rough. Pretty rough. That's why you got to win the games you can. It has to be like exactly key. It's not great sign. Why are there so many green beans in this? He put Steel Sabotage in his pile, which is interesting. Jewel? Wow, classic blue card, Betty BB. Classic blue card. Classic Jewel. Can't play the deck. We're dead. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we gotta win our game 1. We had to win, and we missequenced and lost because of it, so. The only one who can be mad at is me. Rough. Oh, chat. GG. Oh, top card key. Unlucky. All right, here we go. 6th and final round of this vintage challenge. Looks like last round we got paired down into Kevin. So unfortunately, our breakers are very bad. Probably can just 4-2 top 16 at best. So let's try to do that. Normally this would be good. Our opponent is a known shops enjoyer, but I don't think I'm allowed to mulligan this in case they're not on shops. So. Immediate workshop. Very unfortunate. Scrawling Crawler. That's quite good against our deck. Looks like we're going to have to copy the Scrawling Crawler. Another Scrawling Crawler. I'll make the trade. We are in trouble here. Bajuka Bog. Okay. Force. I was kind of hoping my opponent would like Wasteland or something, but Mox. Maybe they won't play any restrictive pieces and we can PO back everything and win somehow. It's probably going to be hard to do that. It's very unfortunate that my opponent has 2 Scrawling Crawlers against us, where this is about the only matchup that Scrawling Crawler is very good against. His Jewel. The good news here is if we don't get Wastelanded, Saga might just beat him on its own. We'll see. Yo, Eric, thanks for the raid. Hope you had fun. I assume we're just going to lose this game, but we'll see what happens. Playing turn 1 3 ball and having your opponent go Workshop Academy is not very good for you. Yeah, I saw you got tricked into playing Lurrus Doomsday. Unlucky. I assume this has to get a strip mine for this Saga. Just a Saga of their own. I guess that's a theoretical thing you could do from here. Another Jewel. The problem is there's a lot of problems. What is the play? I mean, I can PO back this Transfer. It's just not very good, so I think I am just supposed to play a Sapphire, pass. I don't really know what I'm drawing to here. I don't even have like a Hercules or anything in my board because I don't feel like I can normally cast it against this deck. I also don't even have like an island for Ghost Quarter, so there's a lot of problems here. Got a lot of problems. One thing we have right now is we can make constructs and we can PO if my opponent doesn't play like a Null Rod or a Sphere or something. They can't really attack with the Crawler. Is it worth it for me to save life here? That's a great question. I can only make a 3/3. I need the mana. So I'll probably just take this. I probably need to like bounce the crawl. I don't know, man. It's so bad for me. Like no matter what, it's all just so bad. 2 crawlers is so bad for me. The one matchup where crawler helps the opponent. It's very sad. Also, the one matchup where Trinisphere is dead draw. Oh, that card doesn't do anything. Oh, come on. That's so bad for me. So I can force this, but then I can't PO. Do I need to force this? I probably need to force this. I could just hardcast force. It seems worse than just making a construct and forcing this thing. I think I'm dead. My board isn't even bigger than my opponent's. I don't have a PO anymore. I don't know. It looks bad. It looks real bad. Oh, that's definitely a card that can win the game. I think I am just getting as much mana with this as possible. Problem is I have a stupid Trinisphere in hand in play that's hurting me more than helping me. I think I need... Well, I can't even... If I cast Jewel, I can't even PO, right? This Trinisphere is actually just hurting me more than it's helping me. Ah, what a terrible, terrible play. Should I have Mulligan, knowing my opponent was likely on Sphere Shops? I guess I could have. Feels hard to do. I guess I could Jewel into Vault Key plus Sync. Bro, maybe I just wasn't supposed to try the transfer because I thought my opponent might be on Shops. Oh. If I drew wait, I might be out of the woods here. Is Scrawly Crawly that bad? I mean, I still need to get rid of this Trinisphere, but Talon Gate certainly is broken. I'm at 1. All right, play Talon Gates. Phase out Scrawly Crawly. Metamorph. Why do I have so much mana? Oh, yeah. I wanted to save a blue. Metamorph. Oh, I could have metamorphed Golos to get a Talon Gaze to put out Crawly. That's pretty sick. So I will need to be able to pass with a sync up and taking extra turns. But it's very doable from here. We still have a Tolarian Academy. There's a Tinker. There's a Karn. Oh, I have all of my jewels in play. So I can't tinker into a jewel. I can tinker away my 3-ball, though. So that's pretty good. What am I tinkering away my 3-ball into, though? Just mana, maybe? Let's see what we have. Oh, Metamorph seems pretty good. Oh, there's another jewel. Oh, I have 4. Okay. It's better to get the jewel in play than another Metamorph. I think we win this game. I still need to get a sync when I take my infinite turns, but we should probably win this game, I would think. I think we want to get a Mystic Forge going. Oh, that didn't help me. Shit. Do I have to use my thing now? 12 mana? Guess it's fine. If I play a ring, I could use my tomb. It's not really a great play. There's a sync, but I need a time walk. I need to draw this time walk and cast it. Oh, I have enough mana now. Okay, so I think we win then. Man, that's crazy. Yeah, so I sync, I go down to 3, up to 6. So I go to, I jewel, and then I time walk, and then on the next upkeep, I sync. And I have nothing that will deal me 1. And then I PO. Cool. can't believe we won this game. Oh, it's still phased out. I don't even have to sync. What the? This is broken. This Talon Gates card is nuts. How is that a thing? I thought I had to get a sync. I didn't. Oh my god, there's too many fucking things in play, man. I can't hit him. Okay. Well, I wanted to leave one in play in case I wanted to like do something with it, or I don't know, whatever. Is there any way to find the time vault, or I don't have a Sensei's top. Oh, I can just make an unblockable construct that's probably big enough. It's probably enough. Oh, I can also just phase out another thing. This is crazy. This is nuts. This is wild. Yo, this Talon Gates card is busted. This Talon Gates card is so strong. What the hell? Scrawly Crawler's a fraud. What was I complaining about? Complete fraud of a card. Easily beat it. This is your secret weapon against Jewel? No, no, no. I have 4 Talon Gates. Your card is shit. Okay. Worm Coil, Masticores, Worm Coil. What do we board against this? Vexing Bauble can go. Trinisphere can go. Is Jewel bad? I feel like Jewel's probably not very good. I don't really know if I want negations. This Karn actually is probably not very good either, because I'm boarding all the... Oh, maybe I can grab Jewel from my board. Maybe I just like don't need POs anymore. But then I don't have any blue cards. Seems bad. I don't really want to side out Monolith here. They do have null rods, right? I do want to play the game, but I don't really think I want to. It's sphere shops with extra creatures. So there's crawlers and serpents and stuff. I don't really know how we won that game, but we'll take it. I assume they have 4 null rods. Are we bringing in Needle for Wasteland? Maybe we do this. I don't know. Something like this seems fine. Maybe we're supposed to like bring in negations. I could see it. Not sure. Masticore is the truth here, though. They usually don't have a lot of ways to kill it, and it just mows down their whole board over and over again. I can't believe that game was at the knife's edge, but we drew enough cards with our opponent's Scrawling Crawler to win the game, so thank you, opponent. I appreciate that. This hand fucking slaps. Unless I get null rotted, I guess. I'm keeping. Lotus is a good start. Now they can play double spell. Would I force a crawler from this board spot? Wouldn't force a patchwork automaton, I'll tell you that much. Man, they're gonna maybe triple spell. Turn one, a bajillion mana. Would I force a crawler from this spot? It's really bad if... It's really bad if my opponent follows up with a null rod and I force it from this spot. But I think I'm supposed to from this exact hand. Oh, they don't even have a land. Sick. I mean, all of my things seem winning, but I guess... If they don't have a land, like, they're just dead, right? I guess just tinker on the next turn, maybe? Oh, I guess this is exposing me to... I guess I just exposed myself to Mindbreak Trap for no reason. That was probably not my best play. I also just... Okay. Not that I think that matters very much, but... I mean, how can they ever win? One force of will, is that enough to win a game? Oh, there's a workshop. Maybe they just F6 by accident. Null Rod here is like really good. Okay, just a Scrawling Crawler. I was really worried about getting null rotted from that spot. There's a Masticore. Let's draw some cards. There's an Ancestral. So I guess what we'll do is we'll just... I guess we actually are dying to our mana crypt pretty fast here. That could be a problem. I have a Worm Coil, right? Should I just tinker my mana crypt into a Worm Coil engine? I should tinker... I don't know if I want to tinker my ring into a Worm Coil engine or my mana crypt into a Worm Coil engine. I feel like it's better than playing a Masticore. I feel like I have all the cards I need. Time Vault. It's fine. I think Crypt is better. I mean, I still want this mana, chat, to cast Argenta Masticore. And activating my ring into Scrawling Crawler is like double the damage. Could be wrong. I wonder if my opponent like clicked through their second phase with the workshop, or they just ripped land. Don't know. Golos. I think I'm just gonna force this Golos. Maybe I will die to my own mana crypt here. Grafdigger's Cage. Why is that coming in? I'm gonna just pitch the ring. I mean, they should probably attack with this, but I'll trade with this. I'm gonna target. Oh, I don't target first. Hopefully, I win this flip. I did not win the flip. I can only target one my opponent controls, so I think what I do is shoot the crawler, pitch my Masticore, attack with my Worm Coil, and then play One Ring Time Vault. I don't target? I don't understand how this works. Oh, I target? Okay. So I'll hit that. Draw that. Play a One Ring. Oh, I didn't really mean to do that. Whatever. I'm just playing everything. It's too late. I think I'll play that. If he wants to block and trade, I don't mind. Then maybe I'll even draw. We'll see. I don't know if that was like the best thing I should have done. I definitely should have attacked before I played all this nonsense, but I just playing like shit. Well, I definitely want to draw so I can pitch my Argenta Masticore. So I'll just draw now. I'll lose a life and maybe more life, but I need to have a card for my Masticore, so. My opponent is taking another 2 damage to play another Golos. Does skipping my turn help me? Maybe. I certainly could. Is this a skip the turn option? There's not really a downside, right? I mean, the downside is they get to tutor with their Inventor's Fair, but they can't. Yeah, they could tutor with the Inventor's Fair and get what? A Null Rod. But then we could skip 2 turns. And then we could play 2 turns in a row. Well, I mean, I'm still protected because this is until my next turn. So it's just, do I want my opponent to gain a life, take the Inventor's Fair, like use the Inventor's Fair, play something with the Inventor's Fair? I can kill this Germ token, right? It's pretty strong. I think I'm not going to skip a turn. I think I'm not going to. Discard this, kill the Germ token. Lose my flip, I'm sure. Yep. Draw, lose 1 life. Draw for turn. Talon Gates, is that a win? They go to 1. Huh. I can activate Ring because I'm always gaining 6, right? I could win if I draw another Talon Gates. Oh, that just wins on the spot, doesn't it? Cool. This was pretty cool. Not bad. We went 4-2. We should have gone 5-1. I threw the game versus Kevin because I'm bad at Magic, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that was cool. I didn't play like particularly well. I think I picked some good high percentage chances, even though I got lucky a lot. Like versus Sean, I was lucky not to get Mind Break trapped and a couple other places. I do think that this Talon Gaze card is completely nuts, and I want to get 4 in the main somehow, but I'm not 100% sure that you would do how to do that. Maybe you take out Tezzeret, but I kind of like the Tezzeret. I will say that I did like 4 Monolith, 4 Sync. I feel like 4 Masticore. I feel like everything else was pretty good. I didn't mind the numbers here. I will say that the deck, in terms of what I was trying to do from the get-go, is exactly what I said, right? I said Jewel is a strong deck. I said Jewel is a strong deck. Jewel is not being played into the correct metagames at the correct times. I am seeing a metagame that's playing mono white, that's playing Dredge, that's playing Lurrus PO and Breach. And that metagame calls for Jewel to be played. And so I loaded up Jewel, and we obviously lost to Esper Lurrus, which is tough, but then we beat Dredge, we beat Breach, we beat Sphere Shops, and we beat can't remember what we played against in 1-on-1 anymore. But like we probably should have beat Lurrus Doomsday, which I think is probably a good matchup. So yeah, like we did it. We came here to do something, and we did exactly that. And I think it was a pretty good example of what I've been trying to say in terms of linear decks in Vintage are very strong, but they're supposed to be played into metagames where people don't think they should be played, or they don't think they will be played. And when the lower number of people are playing your linear deck, the better off you are. So that was the goal. And like I said, I tried to have my best to have fun. We did some cool things. There were definitely lots of times in this set of matches where we made like hard choices, which was pretty cool. We had a bunch of like non-deterministic combo kills where we, one of the times I messed up and I needed to use my Forge before using my Bauble, that kind of thing. So there were like a bunch of times where we actually had to make hard choices, and I think there were a bunch of times where we made like bad mulliganing choices too. So kind of got the whole range of everything here, and it was a pretty good display of what this deck is all about. I still don't think I like recommend this deck, and I don't necessarily think it's a great deck to play at Eternal Weekend. I think the metagame at Eternal Weekend will be a little bit different. But I do expect this deck to be heavily played at Eternal Weekend in Japan. So a deck that people should be aware of and maybe tune their sideboards a little bit for. We'll see what people choose to do. Probably do nothing, because that's what people normally do. Thanks for watching. More Vintage content on this YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'll see you then.